Hello, hello. Okay, I think everything is working. Okay. Are there any more races scheduled? No, only one. Alrighty. Alrighty, let's see. We will start with the groups. And I guess with my pick'ems for them. Hold on a moment. Let me quickly transition to black screen. Oh, wrong button. This is the wrong button. Yeah, there we go. Let's go back. Stop the analysis. You must wait. No. Group stage is over. I have to talk about it. And about my pick'ems. Let's go back. Okay, pick'ems are here. I'm sorry. Can't stop it. So, let's look at the pick'ems first and talk about the whole group stage. The very first... I'm sorry. The very first thing I want to mention is that the system I came up with is definitely not good. It's quite unfair towards the one who uses it, aka only me. Because if you make one wrong prediction, usually you get two wrong outcomes right away. Unfortunately, I didn't really have time to set up or to think of a better system because I came up with this one basically on the day when the first race was scheduled, like a few hours prior, and I was working that day too, so I didn't really have much time at all. So the system is definitely not good. Maybe what the other guys did and basically putting everything like first, second, third, and fourth place for every group would be better, or at least easier. But I decided to go with a CS-like approach, and it works the following way: you have 8 people who were supposed to advance straight to playoffs, so you would put them in the first column, and you had 16 others who would go straight to plains and fight their way in one more match to get to playoffs as well. So let me explain why it's so bad. Like, for example, let's say Computer Rage and The Last Yokel. I have them both here, and I thought that Computer Rage is going to be first in his group, and the Last Yokel was going to be second. It was the other way around. So basically, I got 2 picks wrong as soon as I saw that Computer Rage lost to the Last Yokel. That's why I don't like the system that much. And at the same time, I don't really have a better idea. Maybe it would be nicer if I would list 24 people who would advance somewhere, mention 8 that I think who will advance straight to playoffs, and then maybe it would be better if it was counted the following way. You get 1 point if you guess that the person advances, and if you guess that the person advances to playoffs and they advance to playoffs, you get an extra point. Maybe this way it would be better. It would be 32 points in total. I don't know what is the threshold, like 16, half of the points. I would definitely have more points with that system, but I don't know if it's like fair. Maybe this way is going to be too easy. But yeah, if we were using that other system I just mentioned, I would get points for both computation and Yokel. I just wouldn't get the extra point for Yokel advancing to playoffs because I put him here, hierarchs. But anyway, enough One last thing I want to mention. When Stig was doing the group stage draw, well, actually after he finished drawing, he said that people who advance straight to playoffs are 8 fastest first place finishers. That's what I've heard, that's what I thought, and that's what I believed until the very end of Group A matches, when Kaz mentioned that the Kronius, even though they have a better average time, they are lower than the other people because they have less points. Apparently, points have priority over the average time. I didn't know that. It was too late to change my pick'ems because, well, 1/4 of the matches was almost done. It would be unfair. However, at the time I thought, whatever, I'm not gonna get 12 anyway. It turns out I get 11. So I had to ask Stog, the person who led me to believe the erroneous version of the rules. I agree, the rules are written on the sheet, and the sheet was actually available, now I remember it. However, as I said, I had no reason to not believe Stog. Stog says that, yeah, he messed up a little bit. A lot of racers apparently were confused about the rules too. I asked Stock about his official statement. I want to read it out loud because it's funny. Like, I asked, do you think that the predictions that were based on your erroneous explanation of the rules can be counted? And here's what he had to say. Dear High Rollers, I would like to sincerely apologize for misleading the most wanted Menace 2025 fans with my statement during the group stage draw. I understand that some dedicated community members base their guesses on the belief that the highest priority tiebreaker was the average time, when in fact it was the total amount of points. I deeply regret that I said, and I hope it didn't ruin the fun for those affected. I promise I will do better next time. With love, Stock. A very nice message. I really like this apology, except for the fact that this did not address the question that I had, which Stock said was by design. Eventually, the conversation ended with me asking, actually, no, with Stock saying, now it's up for the pickemers to decide, which I said that I'm gonna interpret as a permission to make the decision myself, to which he said, of course. So now I'm in charge of making that decision, and obviously I'm gonna say that these type of pick'ems also count because they affect me directly, and I believe only me. I don't think anybody else used this system. Not that I've seen many pick'ems. I've only seen some from Kozni and a screenshot from Zazzlebar or something. I don't remember. At least a mention from Zazzlebar. So yeah. Therefore, I'm gonna count Kronius, who did not actually advance to playoffs, but who would advance to playoffs if we were using the system that was mentioned after the draws for the group stage. Therefore, I'm counting that as another point, and I get 12 out of 12. With the second system, I think I would have like 22 points. Let's count. I would get 2 for Kaz, 2 for Spook, that's 4. I would get 1 for Kronius, 5, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Well, maybe 21. Anyway, it would be a lot better. 21 out of 16 sounds much better. But now let's talk about my picks. Why did I choose these people over others? And how did the whole thing go? Like, the first pick was Timon. Timon was not the obvious favorite in the group. However, at the time, he was one of the fastest, most wanted racers, or rather runners. And I thought he definitely can win his group, and if he does, then he will definitely go straight to playoffs. Timon is very consistent, and that's why I picked him over Stereo. And I actually happened to commentate that race, and Stereo won. Props to him. Unfortunately, though, Timon had to withdraw from the tournament. I'm not gonna name the reason, even though it was publicly published. All the best to Timon, but he did not advance to playoffs. That's why I got the red here. Stereo advanced straight to playoffs. I thought he would be second. He was first. Congrats. I would say, very consistent performance as well. And Stereo did not stop grinding. He keeps on grinding, and he keeps on getting better and better times. I definitely believe Stereo can go far in the tournament. No doubt. Stereo might even be one of the favorites to win the whole thing. That's what I think. Next obvious pick was Kaspersky. Let me see his group. Kaspersky. Yeah. Kaspersky's group, I wouldn't say it's an easy one. I knew that Raptor was super good as well, and also super consistent, always getting these low 30s, 31s. However, Kaspersky was getting sub 30s pretty consistently too. So I just had to pick him over Raptor. I did put Raptor as a second place finisher somewhere here. Yeah, right here. I was thinking between Raptor and Big Mouse Prick. I might even have Big Mouse Prick as well. Yeah, I also have Big Mouse Prick here. I'll explain the reasoning in a moment. But from what I've heard, Big Mouse Prick, and rather seen too, and also seen too, Big Mouse Prick wasn't practicing that much before the races, even though he is in Group C. Well, he was in a Group C, which means that they were starting on the third week of the tournament, so 2 weeks to practice, a lot of time to be fair. If you, I don't know, just spend an hour a day, that's, well, 14 hours of practice, at least. But obviously I don't know the whole situation. Maybe Big Mouse Prick was super busy and everything. The fact was, I thought he could upset Raptor, but he didn't. Why did I put both Raptor and BMP here? I knew obviously only one can go through. And sorry, DOS Amp fans, I didn't think DOS Amp would be the one who will take the second place under any circumstances. So when I was making my predictions, I kind of wanted to get at least 1 point guaranteed. That's why I put both Raptor and BMP there. It would be very funny if Raptor advanced from the first place and cast from the second. This way I would get 0 points out of 3 for this group, which would be quite bad. That didn't happen, so I got 2 points out of 3, so I'm happy. Spook 3 now, that might be a controversial pick for some, because Berry Juice was practicing a lot. He was getting cool, fast times. In fact, if you look at the average time, his average time is better than Spook's by 20 seconds. But, man, this is Spook 3. Like, it was obvious he was gonna win this. Also, knowing that the tournament is scripted, I knew that his race versus Berry Juice, his main opponent in that group, would be super close. In fact, it was so close they had to retime it, well, quote-unquote retime it for the show. It took like, what, 30 minutes? I think they just padded time because they were waiting for the next race to start or something. That's a joke, by the way. Don't take it seriously. But yeah, I believed in my boy Spook. Like, that's it. I just believed in him. Sometimes my picks are irrational because I believe in my friends. I believed in Spook. I also believed in Barry. Berry Juice is right here, second place, just as I predicted. So I get 2 points out of 2 for this group. Waypoint, I didn't know anything about him, same as Moaim. Waypoint managed to surprise me a lot with reversed Most Wanted. pretty cool showing. Also, his race versus Spook was super close too. Spook was a bit unlucky with FIB cycle. But Waypoint doing the reverse route like showed that he can get good times with suboptimal route, and that's pretty cool. If they were doing the proper route, they definitely had a chance to advance further. Props to them. What will you? Unless there's something wrong somewhere. Might be. Tell me if something is wrong. Okay, back to pick'ems. Now Kronius. Kronius is a controversial pick that I'm gonna count. As I said, official statement from stock was received, and I am in charge for making the decision, and I make the decision in my favor, obviously. Now Kronius, let's look at that. It really feels like stock tried to sabotage me, because I looked at the leaderboards. Kronius had a pretty good PB back then. I didn't know Super Black White is so good too. And I didn't know anything about Celery, I believe. I knew that Stick has a good time as well on the leaderboards. However, Stick practicing? No, that wasn't happening. That's why I put Kronius as the first place finisher and Stick as the second one. First, Stick sabotaged me by messing up the rules during the live broadcast. And second, he sabotaged me by winning against Kronius. So even though Kronius advanced from the first place, I was hate watching the wrong person all that time. And I was happy when they lost, the person I was hate watching. Anonymously, of course. Yet it didn't matter because apparently points were, well, had higher priority than average time. But yeah, anyway, Kronius first place, average time was good enough to be in top 8 fastest finishers. If we look all the way down here, we'll see that 37.17 would place Kronius right after Spook, 7th place. So with the initial system that I thought was the system in place, he would go straight to the playoffs. Unfortunately, he did not. But I'm gonna count it anyway. What can I say? Pretty surprised with SBW's performance. Looking forward to their race versus Lagoon in play-ins. I think SBW can also go very far, considering the fact that now they have a low 27 PB. That's pretty damn fast, if you ask me. And I think it's not on the leaderboards, which is bad, because when I was making pick'ems for the second stage, for the play-ins, I couldn't find so many PBs from people who advanced, and I was like, now I have to remember how they raced. That's crazy. But yeah, pretty good. I'm looking forward to more SBW's races. Also, Stick, before the tournament even started, said that he is gonna donate all of his winnings, or rather use all of his winnings to pay for my commentary. And then he instantly dropped out with a 3rd place finish, meaning that he gets 0 rubles. And I commentated 2 races for literally nothing. What the hell, man? This is not how we work here. We are a serious organization. You gotta pay, man. I don't care where you get the money. Go and talk to Dr. Manet or something. But let's go forward. Good run. Initially, I even forgot to put him at all in my pick'ems. But later I noticed, before his races, obviously, so I put him. I don't know how I missed him. Honestly, I put both Zazzlebar and Sam. But I forgot about Ron completely. Don't ask me how. Ron probably had one of the hardest groups with Sam and Zazzle, and Ron had a legit chance to lose against Zazzlebar. A lot of people think that it was rigged. However, I saw that Zazzle bet on Ron in his race against Ron. And also, knowing that Zazzlebar winning against Ron would ruin my PCAMs completely, I think that the result is justified. It's totally legit. No foul play was found. Investigation did not find anything wrong. But yeah, the group was pretty stacked, I would say. Like, Sam has a 38 average time, but that's not really telling you the whole story, because if we look right there, let me find the same group, we'll see that Sam got unlucky in his first race against Jacold, got an over 50-minute time, but his other races were super fast, 34 and a low 30. That's actually crazy for a race. So I would say Sam advancing is deserved. However, wouldn't have happened if somebody did not decide to use a bet. Not gonna say who that was, but I'm gonna give you a little hint. Their name starts with that and ends with Azelbar. Maybe you can understand who I'm talking about. But the races were very, very fun to watch in that group. Jacold also, I think, great performance for a newbie, like a person who just tried speedruns for the very first time in any game, managed to improve during their races. Final time was sub 1. I know they were very happy with that time, and I think it was well deserved. They promised to continue running. I bet they can get an easy sub 50. And to be fair, not gonna be surprised if they get like sub 45. The only thing that they need to do to reach that goal is just continue running, and eventually it will happen. Just a matter of practice, I guess, and putting more hours in. We'll see if that happens. We're not gonna see Jacolt in the tournament anymore, but I wish them best of luck. If they truly want to improve their time, they have everything to do so. Apart from free time, maybe, I don't know. I thought it was Ultra BM. What exactly? The bat approach from Zazzlebar or what? Or my words? Some of my words? Could be sorry if I'm being BM. Just my personal opinion. And hopefully I'm not gonna angry anybody with it. The race was fun to watch. And I was honestly quite sad seeing Zazzlebar like so ahead. I think you... No, I believe you were quite unlucky with the cycles. Like, you had FIB on your tail for quite a long time. I felt like your deaths... 2 deaths, I believe. I don't want to say very unfair, but... still... felt like you could do without them, you know? But it was his decision, like, nobody asked him to do so, right? If he won that race, I believe he would advance. Let me look here. Zazzlebar versus you. 40-41. It would be like 36, right? 30, 33, and 36. He's like, what, 34-ish? Oh, no, it's already 34, sorry. Well, yeah, I think had he not died on Harrison, he would actually be top 1 in the group. Would have been top 1 in the group. Yeah, I think so. And he would be second because Sam had a 50-minute race versus Jackhold. Route before Juan. I think he meant you forgetting him. Yeah, maybe. That's my bad. Sorry. When I was choosing people, I was aware you were there. And I thought I put you in. But later I realized that I didn't. I was like, what? There's no way I forgot to put Gudrun into top 8 because my previous pick was Ligun. I was like, there was no way I would put Ligun over Gudrun. I'm sorry. But I just forgot. Route before one and Simon were both wrong on my end. Yeah, Ultra BM Pickums. He was super sad about his average. Yeah, I do remember about average. Yes, sorry about Pickums being BM. I did not want to forget. But let's go back to them. I think we're done with this group. Kryota, another person that honestly I haven't heard before the tournament. Hadn't heard about before the tournament. Yet I've looked at the speedrun.com page and their PB was pretty damn good. So I was like, yeah, let's look at the group. Kryota, Kauti, We Will, and ES Jonah. And I was like, yeah, I think Kryota has a chance. I thought Kauti could win too. I know Kauti is very good with Definitive Edition. I don't know much about them. I just know that they have super good times in like GTA 3D. Haven't watched them, but I also remember they participated in the Stunts tournament by Zazzle Bar in January and got a pretty damn good time as well. So I knew they were good at the game already, and I knew they can get a good time if they just put some hours in. And they did. I didn't know who would win. I just knew that Kryoto's PB was better at the time, I think. So that's why I put Kryoto first and Kauti second. Yeah, there they are. Weevil I thought could also upset like Kauti. But that did not happen. Like Weevil's performance was a bit lower than I expected. But overall, I wouldn't say it was like anything bad or terrible or whatever. I think that's just the race. What is the word? I forgot. Environment. Yeah, the race environment. Because you sometimes look at the leaderboards and you see, oh, 28-minute PB, yo, they're so good. But in a race, anything can happen. And usually stuff happens during races. That's why PBs are not the best. I don't want to say the source. Indicator of your actual potential in a tournament setting. Yeah, setting, not environment. Setting was the word I was looking for. Yes, Jonah, I think I managed to find their PB on the leaderboards. I saw it wasn't super good, wasn't bad either. But I couldn't see as Jonah upsetting both We Will and Kauti. However, their average time is better than We Will's in the end. What was the race time? As Jonah versus We Will. 52 for We Will. And as Jonah versus We Will, 56. I don't remember that race, but looks like things went wrong during it because of such high times. Yeah, see, like 53, 52. That's what I'm saying. 38, 58. That's like this is what I kind of expected from we will like high 30s. Unfortunately, he got to over 50s. But overall, good performance. Also, props to We Will for commentating some of the races. Great job there. No complaints from me whatsoever. Hopefully, I hope we'll hear him more. However, he said he's going on like, I don't know, vacation. He's going away for a week. That's what he said. Maybe he'll be back for later stages, later playoff matches. It's fine, we'll organize another tournament next year just so me and Zazzle can perform better. Yo, what's up, Yoko? Yeah, analysis. I'm basically analyzing my pick'ems. You kind of ruined them, by the way. I asked you not to win against Computer Age, and you did. So I'm sad. In the end, it didn't matter because I blackmailed Stock to make it to either for him to make a decision in my favor or to leave the decision to me, and he did the latter. And yeah, my pick'ems are fine because I'm gonna count Cronius. But I'm gonna repeat myself. Actually, no, we'll get to you later. Truzy next. That was probably one of the silliest picks. I don't know why I picked Truzy over Kamix. For some reason, I think I thought that Druzy had experience with that category and what it was decent at it. But that was just not the case. Also, I thought like, oh, 3 weeks before the first race in Group D, plenty of time to practice. Druzy did not use that time to practice. Kamix did. And he got his first place in the group, well deserved. Great average time, 33 minutes is nothing to be, you know, worried about, I would say, for his later matches. Because look, he's technically second fastest out of first place finishers. Actually, no, he's second fastest out of all of the finishers. Just a second ahead of Kudron. But still, insane performance. Kamix was practicing a lot, and it paid off. And I believe he's gonna continue to practice until his first match in the playoffs, which is gonna be still best of 1. Knowing that he's gonna get someone from play-ins, he has a great chance to advance to best of 3s, and once best of 3s kick off, I believe he'll have a great chance to win in almost all of his matchups because he's very consistent. His practice shows that. If we look at his times, we'll see that his first 2 races were identical in time, 32-28. I think he's the only person to post the same time in 2 races. His final time is a little bit worse, but that's only because he didn't know Marty can shoot more than once. He baited the first shot, went in so, I don't know, bravely, started shooting left and right, and completely forgot about the guy in the middle. The guy with the rocket launcher. And that was a direct shot straight into his face. Boom. Instant out. Instantly out. That's the only reason his final race time was worse. But yeah, in the end, picking Druzy over Kamix was a bad idea. I knew it before the first race of Group D1. Like, I knew I was cooked before D groups even started. But at that point, I couldn't change my predictions. That would be unfair already. That's why I had to keep them. That's why I got 0 points for that group. I don't know much about, well, didn't know much about God's 666 child and Archie. I didn't think they could upset anybody, but They did upset Druzy. Archie got the second place, and we'll see them racing later, which is pretty interesting. Godchild also had a chance to advance before the final race, which was between Druzy and, I believe, Kamix. However, in order for Godchild to advance, he needed like literally a miracle. He needed Druzy to win against Kamix. So actually, no, I don't think he had a chance. No, he had, yeah. If Druzy won against Kamix, Archie, and Godchild would have 6 points each. That wouldn't been enough on its own for Godchild to advance. He really needed Druzy to win and Kamix to lose with a horrible time. He kinda needed, like, I don't know, 3 game crashes for Kamix. Preferably every time on Harrison. So Kamix gets like a 2-hour time. That was the only way his average time would go lower than Godchild's. Obviously, there was no chance for that. And it didn't happen in the end, so we're not gonna see Godchild advancing and going further. But still, I would say Godchild has everything to get much faster times. He gets tilted when things go, the wrong way, when things don't go his way. I believe if he can manage to calm himself down in such situations, he's gonna stop making mistakes. Therefore, he's gonna stop, first of all, losing times on like stairs and by dying. Simply, if he's gonna be calm, I think he can post such a good time, like sub 50 easily. Once again, from what I've seen, he has everything to get a good time. He just needs to fight his, I don't know, inner self. Because if he tilts, things go wrong. He wanted to like drop out in his race against Archie once he knew that Archie won, but luckily he didn't. And I respect people who finish their races, even though they were tilted, even though the races didn't go their way at all. I respect all of those guys who managed to push through. Bro leaked semi-final script with Kamix? Real. But yeah, let's go back. Finally, we're gonna talk about Computer Age and The Last Yokel. As I said, sometimes you bet because of some data that you have. And to be fair, Computer Rage's PB is better than Yokel's, and was better at the time when I was making predictions, which was before the very first race. But like watching CR streams, I saw that sometimes he gets like super unlucky. Sometimes he makes the wrong decisions. And when he's doing like no resets, usually he's not getting low 30s, He's getting somewhat high 30s, mostly. Or at least was getting. Still, I'm a big Computer Rage fan. That's why I put him above. I thought he would actually be first. I didn't know anything about sign-in, FFS, or Wirecon, so I knew it was between these two. And I just made the wrong decision. And that's what I mentioned at the very start of the stream. I'm going to repeat myself. I think the system I came up with for pick'ems was super unfair towards the players. And I believe there has to be a better system somewhere. I just did not have time to think about it because I had to come up with something basically on the day of the first race, just a few hours before it started. And I was working at that day as well, so didn't have any time at all. Maybe the next time, before the next tournament, we'll know the system and the draws a little bit earlier, so we have more time to, first of all, come up with a fair system for betters, and second, have enough time to place these bets. Because I'm pretty sure I'm the only one who made any bets for play-ins. I didn't see anything from Zazul, and I didn't see anything from Kozni. And now it would be too late to make predictions, unless they're not going to count the first two races because they're already over. But yeah, last yokel, very well deserved first place. 37.52 though, I believe, yes, you are literally eights. You were very close to not going straight to playoffs, simply because of your average time. Although, let's look at the actual times in races. 37, 35, and 40. I would say that's pretty decent. And we both know you can do better. I think you can get like 35s in every race if you keep practicing. As for the PB, I don't really remember your PB, I'm sorry. But once again, sub 30 seems realistic to me from what I've seen in the races. Just get a little bit more lucky with cycles, I guess. And don't panic in dangerous situations. Because a lot of times I've seen people dying not because there was no way to survive, but because they were nervous, they were panicking, and they didn't know what to do. Keep calm, and I believe you will improve. And obviously continue practicing, continue doing no resets maybe, just to get better overall. Top 30 for you is definitely possible, and I'm looking forward to your playoff race. We'll see how it goes. Okay, that concludes my first column. 8 people who I thought would advance to playoffs. Pick a Manette contest. No. I honestly think that as soon as money gets involved, things become a little less fun. People start taking these tournaments, races, challenges, whatever, way more serious. And I believe it becomes less fun this way. Honestly, I've seen some takes in the chat. Not gonna say by who, but they were overreacting a lot. I did not agree with a lot of takes from multiple people. Mostly one person, but yeah, whatever. Next time for sure. I truly think that prize money, good if you want to get more participants in the tournament like that. I understand it. Prize money for something like pick'ems? No, I don't think that's a good idea. Maybe some fun prize like, like Will has. Trophies. Or in the case of pick'ems, coins, like CS has. Maybe if somebody draws something, that would be a cool prize to fight for. A real prize, like a monetary prize, or even like gift subs, I personally wouldn't want to have that. But maybe it's just me. Maybe that's just me. Maybe people want to actually get some money or gift subs or anything else, like skins in CS. I don't know what else we can gift easily. Yep, my second race was awful. 31.54, that's a damn good PB. But sub 30 is definitely doable, I think, for you. Gimmick engagement. Yeah, I think gimmicky prices are better than real prices with monetary value. But that's just me. Mr. Post would clear it. Yes, big sweep. And then he goes back to being inactive for 5 years because that's how much he won. All right, let's talk about people who are in the second column and who I didn't talk about earlier. Cookie. I knew Cookie would win his group. Cookie was in group A1 and I just did not see anybody who can beat Cookie there. Honestly, I thought Joshimus wouldn't even make it out. That's why Joshimus is not here. However, at that time, Cookie's PB was, I think, like 39 or 38. And knowing that, say, Kaz, Ron, Sam, Kryota, Timon, Cronius, Stig, a lot of people have like low 30s, sub 30s. I literally looked at all of the groups and I thought, yeah, there would be 8 people who are gonna be faster than Cookie. That's why I put him into play-ins. And I was right. Unfortunately for him, he's literally like 9th. So 1 place higher and he's in playoffs. However, I was like, once again, at the time when I was making my predictions, I was under the impression that 8 fastest first place finishers would advance, which would put Kronius also higher than Cookie. But as I said, points were more valuable right here. It says it right here, which I was not aware of at the time, but yeah. Cookie, I knew he would win. I would say he surprised me with his races. Like 35, 35, 46 is the very first race of the tournament, also against Joshimus. I imagine it was a little bit nervous for Cookie. Literally like opening the big tournament, playing against crowd's favorite, such a big streamer. So 46 is definitely an outlier. 35s show his consistency. He also improved his PB since then. Now his PB is much better. He is racing AD in play-ins, so he has a very good chance beating him. All Cookie needs right now is practice a little bit to get his form back, and he's definitely crushing it. And by that I mean he has a chance, a real opportunity to go far in the tournament, not only just reach playoffs. However, I think if he gets past play-ins and gets a tough opponent in playoffs, which is gonna be random from these 8 folks, like if he gets someone like Kryota, he might be too nervous. Because Kryota, look, 35 average time as well. Like, they are roughly the same in this tournament, if we remove that 40 plus finish time for Cookie. But Cookie might just get nervous. Maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's super calm and chill about it. And he's gonna prove me wrong. And I'm gonna be happy if he proves me wrong. I definitely cheer for Cookie. Like, no kidding. He is not a rookie. I always cheer for Cookie. I will be cheering for him in his future races for sure. And I wish him the best. Hopefully he reaches as far as he wants. But yeah, that's why I put him in the second column. Okay, we've already talked about Stig, Stereo, Raptor, Sam, Kamix, Perry, Kauti, PMP, Zazzle. Now it's time for Yuyu. Yuyu, Lagoon, Frank Martin, and Lagamorph. Wait, let me see. Shoutouts to Stig. Yeah, shoutouts to Stig. Not sure why, but shoutouts to you. Okay. When I was looking at this group, A3, all I knew that Lagoon has a decent PB. At the time it was, I think, better than Cookies even. I didn't know anything about Frank Martin, 97, and Lagamorph. or if they had a time on the leaderboards, the time was considerably worse than Ligun's. So I didn't think they would manage to get out of the group, and they didn't. So I was right. Although Frank's average time is super close to Ligun's, like 30 seconds apart. What was their race time head to head? Ligon versus Frank Martin. 37. Frank Martin versus Ligon 38. Yeah, even their race was super close. Like a minute apart. Tiny bit more. I would say that Frank Martin actually had a chance to advance. Yu though. Like I knew that Yu is super good at other games. I didn't know how good they are at GTA 4. Also, it was first week, so not much time to practice. Also, apparently, all of the Yu's races were scheduled and raced in one day, which is crazy. And Yu won all of them. Congrats to you. Average time 37.23, not the best average time, not the worst one either. Pretty decent average time. I think for a person who doesn't run GTA 4 that much, that's a very good time. So they advanced straight to playoffs. I don't know if they kept practicing, honestly, but if they did, they also have a great chance of going far if they get opponents, like the right opponents. And the first opponent is going to be from play-ins, so definitely doable for Yu. I personally thought that Ligun would win in the group, and Yu would be the second. How did the race go? I did not watch this race. I'm pretty sure I haven't watched Yu's races because I was working. I think it was on Friday, and I was literally in the office that day, so I couldn't watch the races. I just tuned in for a few minutes just to keep my streak. 41 basically for Yui versus Lagoon, and 45. Okay, I see. So not the best performance from both of them. Like if we look at their other times, they were much better. So it could go either way, I would say. It was literally 50-50 for me, and I guessed wrong. I put Yu here, and, well, Yu apparently belongs to this column. Stop the count, we have new evidence that Druzy actually won. Just Josh and carry on. No, man, like, Druzy, for the amount of practice that he put in, the fact that he managed to PB in his last race, I think that's very good. Very good result. I honestly thought he would be more into it, but maybe Druzy was too busy to practice more or something. But in the end, the final race time was very good, in my opinion. Mr. Post can still win this. Mr. Post can always win. Stick is the best, but Mr. Post is my favorite. Okay. Alright, what else? Okay, this was the point where I ran out of people to pick. Well, maybe apart from Yoko. I don't know why Yoko is below Banana Man, but still. I literally didn't know who else to pick. Because I, at that time, needed either someone who would finish first, but with a bad average time, or who would definitely finish second. And by just looking at the groups, I didn't know who would be second here. I didn't know Joshimus was much better than the opposition. Well, I say much better, but there's only 40 seconds of difference, so that doesn't apply here. I picked Stick already here. I picked Yu as second finisher in this group. Kauti was picked. Olive 3, I didn't know they were good, but at the same time, Timon was still in the tournament, so I picked Stereo as second finisher. Timon had withdraw, otherwise I think Timon would be second. Here, when I saw Ethan, I was like, What Ethan? Ethan who made EH games? I'm like, no way, they don't speedrun. I think I realized who Ethan was only when Ethan raced. I was like, oh, VCS Ethan. I was like, Itachen. Like, why would you put your wrong name? Like, say Itachen and I instantly know who you are. But they put Ethan and I was so clueless. So I was like, yeah, I'm not sure about this group at all. To me, it was like anyone's game. I didn't know anyone from here. So I believe I didn't put anyone from this group at all. Knowingly that I would get 0 points for that, but I was just emptying some space for stuff like C2, where I could put both Sam and Zazzle, so I get at least 1 point out of 2 guaranteed. No, I actually put Mikitsa, but it was a random choice. Like, I was like, yeah, Mikitsa, cool name, I'm gonna go with Mikitsa. Same for Banana Man. Didn't know who would go second here, but I looked at this group and I was like, yeah, I think even the first place is not gonna be fast enough to advance straight to playoffs, so I'm gonna pick 2 people from this group, and I picked Banana Man, which turned out to be a great pick because that was a controller player, a very unique player in the tournament, so I made the right choice here in terms of picking an interesting person. It was the wrong choice from the betting perspective. And I picked ADX9928, once again simply because of their nickname. It reminded me of a CS2 player nickname who has like also some gibberish, like random letters and numbers, and people in the community call him the Steam Code. And I was like, yeah, this is also the Steam Code looking like nickname. I'm gonna pick it. And guess what? AD, which was my last pick, actually advanced. Oh no, I actually picked Ethan too. Wow. Okay. I forgot about Ethan. But I did not know it was VCS Ethan. Trust me. So yeah, for the last picks, I was randomizing and just choosing based on how cool the name was. Didu was not in the tournament back then. I don't remember who they replaced, but they replaced somebody mid-tournament. Would I pick them if they were there from the very beginning? Probably not. I think Banana Man and AD clear in terms of nicknames. However, when Zazzlebar was saying Didule, I was like, yeah, sounds literally like Didule, which is a Russian word. And if you say it like that, it sounds pretty cool, and I could see myself going for it, for that funny name, but never mind. Didule or Didula appeared in the tournament much later, after it was like what, 3 weeks in? 2 weeks in. Couldn't change anything at that point. And yeah, this is basically how I picked everyone for the first group stage. Overall, what can I say about the group stage in general? A lot of interesting races, but unfortunately, a lot of very predictable ones too. But I guess that's like it's impossible to not have those when it's random draw and there are a lot of experienced players and a lot of newcomers who are literally doing their first speedruns. I can only respect people who decided to try Most Wanted as their first speedrun just for this tournament. Like, I know Flamestroke is one of them, a Jackal, probably a lot more. Big props for actually participating and finishing the races, even though not all of the races were finished. But I believe everyone finished at least one race, and that's great. Mad respect for everyone who decided just to try this and see. And I hope they had fun. A lot of people said they had, and I hope all of them had fun. But yeah, a lot of insane races too, like Stereo versus Team 1 was super close. Spook versus Barry, man, that was insanely close. I was like on the edge of my seat. I have some insider information from Spook. I'm not gonna say what he told me before his group even started. But I always believed in my boy Spook, and he delivered. A lot of small disappointments from betting's perspective too, like computer age losing. But it happens. Like, there were some upsets, don't get me wrong. I believe the very... Okay, that's a funny story. Like, obviously you can bet with channel points at GTA Marathon. And I was skipping the bets for the first races because for some races I thought the odds weren't very good and I didn't feel confident enough to bet for good odds. Like for, you know, what is the word? I always forget the words, man. Underdogs. Yeah, I didn't feel confident to bet on an underdog in a lot of races. Maybe I bet like, I don't know, 100 points just for fun on an underdog. But the first race where I actually decided to bet properly was the first Stig's race. And I bet on my boy Stig. And he threw it instantly. And I was like, bruh, are you kidding me? The first race I decided to bet on, bro just robs me out of my channel points. I bet he saw I bet he saw I bet on him and decided to throw right after that. That's the only explanation, man. That's the only explanation. I think I lost some other bets too. I don't remember which ones though. But I definitely won more than I lost, and I'm happy about that. Oh wait, no, I do remember. I've won by betting on Ron versus Zazzle. But I did lose in the previous race, and I bet more in that race where I lost. I don't remember what the previous race was. I honestly don't remember. I think it was BMP versus DOSAMP, and I bet on BMP or something. Yeah, I think it was this one. Anyway, good memories. Remember, gamers, bet responsibly. Always bet what you can afford to lose. When it comes to channel points, though, they're useless. Always go all in. RuneScape be like, what? Man, sorry, I'm reading chat like with a huge delay because I don't have a second monitor. But yeah. No, sorry, my screen was frozen. Okay. Sunset for the play and Black Camps. Yeah, you're gonna see them. Только просмотр. Oh no. That's over for me. I did a strat I'd only tried once before. A classic. That one move killed my whole tournament. To be fair, yeah. I think if you won one more race, let's look. If you won against salary, at least, you all would be tied with 6 points each. And since the tie breaks are average time first and not head-to-head matches, depending on your result versus salary, Stig versus salary, 46, man, that's an outlier as well. Like, had you gotten like, I don't know, at least a 40, you would be faster than SBW for sure. And you would advance from the second place, maybe from the first one. It would still be apparently play-ins, because that was the only group where the first place has 6 points. But still. Okay. Now, before we go to the play-ins, I need to look at the history, where it says последнее изменение 22 часа назад, which is last change 22 hours before. Why is that important? Well, this is very important because 2 races in play-ins already took place today. And by showing that the last change was 22 hours ago, which is definitely before today's races, you cannot accuse me of cheating my PCAMs for play-ins. Because if we look right here, I can do that straight away. I guess the first two results, and they were right. Now it's gonna say that the last change is like right now. But here are my pick'ems for play-ins. Actually, let me do that. I think it's possible to do it like this. Yeah, now it looks better. We don't need those extra lines. So let's look at the play-ins first. I'll be honest, I didn't know who to choose on a lot of races, and mostly these two, actually. But let's start from the first one. Cookie versus AD. I'm gonna call him AD because AD rhymes with XDD, so I can have my spam this XDD to help AD. I don't think much rhymes with ADX. Spam this X, and like ex-girlfriend or ex-wife. I don't know, that's a good one. So yeah, I'm gonna call him AD. Multiplied by 9,928. Versus Cookie. As I said, Cookie improved a lot. And if he keeps on grinding, he should win. However, I should mention that AD was on great paces in all of their races. But somewhere in the end, something always went wrong. Like if we look at AD's group, which I believe is somewhere down here. Yeah, right here. Like 54, 54, 52. All of these times could be sub 50, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. So if AD gets a good run and Cookie gets an unlucky cycle maybe, or maybe like makes a mistake somewhere, AD has a chance to win. But I still believe in Cookie in that race. And I'm gonna cheer for Cookie, even though I like AD's style. AD has a unique style. AD, new Noel. AD, new Harrison. I don't think new Harrison is faster or safer or anything better than the old Harrison, but still. AD is innovative. And that's what I like about them. Also, we heard AD on the comms, I think once, maybe twice. Maybe we'll hear them again. Looking forward to that too. And obviously we've heard Cookie on comms multiple times. Also, very good performance from my boy Cookie. Keep it up. But yeah, let's continue. Archie and IFM. I went for IFM, and I believe the decision was made solely based on their times. Archie has an almost 50-minute average time. If we look at the results, 57, 48, 42. And if we look at IFM, 40, almost 41, but still. Wait, it's to the right. 46, 40, 34. Like, their ceiling is higher than Archie's right now. But I would say once again, Archie can take this one if stuff goes his way and things don't go IFM's way. But this prediction was made solely based on their performance in group stages. Just looked at their average time. Can't add anything else. Okay, Coop. Who's he playing against? Coop versus Olive. Or Olive 3. I believe it was the same case for me. Olive 3 got through because Timon had to withdraw. Coop, on the other hand, apparently is a speedrunner, just of a different game. And they won their group. 43. Better average time. Let's look at the results. 50, 46, 42 for Olive. And 36, 44, 47 for Coop. Once again, Coop has better average, better overall times. Like, the worst Coop's time is not that far away from the worst Olive's time. So Olive also has a chance of winning. Like, a lot of these races, as I said, were hard to decide who to bet on because the opponents are somewhat close to each other. Maybe you look at the average times and see, oh, they're 5 minutes apart, but 5 minutes in Most Wanted Madness is nothing. One death on Harrison can cost you 5 minutes if you like get unlucky with stairs or something, or maybe you'll have to reheal on your way an extra time, you know. Just one death. And it's so easy to die after Noel if you get unlucky with cops on the road and your car is already, you know, broken. Stuff like that can happen. It already happened in the tournament. And I believe it will happen in the future too. We'll see some devastating deaths on last targets that would decide the race results. I'm sure of it. The next one, Cronus versus Joshimus. Like, sorry all of the Joshimus fans. I did not believe in Joshimus even for his group stage. Admittedly, I thought his PB was like 140 or something. Apparently it was just 40 something back in the day. But still, Cronus should take this one. Things have to go super wrong for Cronus to lose this one. I could see Joshimus winning if Joshimus continued practicing after his group stage. He was in group A1, meaning that he had 3 more weeks after his group concluded, and he knew he was through, to continue practicing and getting better times. But I did not see him practicing Most Wanted much. He played San Andreas, he played iRacing, but I didn't see him playing Most Wanted much. If he did, maybe he had a chance. But right now, I honestly don't believe he has any chances against Cronus. That was probably the first pick I've made in play-ins. Now, Raptor versus Ethan. I had to go with my boy Raptor. Raptor's super consistent. If you look at his average time right here, you'll see he's first out of all of the second places. 33, 34 would put him literally 4th place right there. 4th place overall in the whole tournament. Wait, maybe. 1 second. Yes, his time is better than Zazelbar's. Zazelbar also has a great average time, so I thought maybe it is even better than Raptor's, but no. So Raptor's super consistent. We installed no FIB cheats on his computer. Nobody seemed to notice even after he was asked to go and find FIB after his race was finished, and he still couldn't. Nobody bat an eye. I'm very happy that our cheats are invisible, unlike Druzy's trainer. And that's why I believe Raptor will win. However, I should mention that Ethan is a very strong player. We know he can grind a lot, but I don't think they actually did. Once again, I didn't see Ethan grinding Most Wanted Madness much after his group races concluded. With an average time of 42-47 versus 33-34, I think Raptor has this one in the bag. Well, Kuti versus Computer Rage. Why did I go for Kuti instead of my boy Computer Rage, you might ask? A very close race, a super close result. Kuti was ahead, then Computer Rage was ahead, then Kuti was ahead again, then his car was set on fire. He decided to shoot the cops to save his house. And on the stream, Computer Rage actually finished first, but turns out Kuti had a bigger stream delay. That's why he won. If we look at the paper, like if we look at the PBs, I think Computer Rage's PB is better than Kuti's. Or Kauti's, sorry. But I already spoke about Computer Rage's consistency in a race setting. Something always goes wrong for him. And I saw his practice before the race. Stuff didn't go right even in 0-star area. I did not change. Like, I've made my mind yesterday when I was making these predictions. And the practice session before the race just kind of confirmed my suspicion. The race itself went much closer than I thought it would. And Computer Rage had every chance to win and advance to playoffs. Unfortunately, he didn't, and I'm really sad that he didn't. Because I always cheer for my boy Computer Rage. He is literally the only person who decided to go the same route with GTA 3 ILs as I did at some point of time in my past. And it was very fun to follow him and his journey. I always watch his any percent runs, Honda runs, all missions, I remember, yes. He also participated in jumps. So I know he's capable of getting great times. His PB is great. He PB'd just a few days ago. So I'm sad that he's out. However, here I wasn't betting based on my, feelings towards a player. Here I was betting purely based on the performance before. And I kind of felt Computer Rage's shakiness. I hope he's not gonna be angry at me for not believing him. Maybe he lost only because I did not believe in him. Maybe I'm the one to blame. I don't know. The next one, Berry Juice versus Sam. Another tough choice. And another close race all the way up till Covey. I missed the start of the race, so I don't know what went wrong for Sam, but he was super far behind. But he managed to catch up, sorry. He managed to catch up, and it was super close for some time, but then, yeah. I would say not switching to the car might have been one of the biggest mistakes. The second death was obviously too late, and I don't know if it was because Barry didn't know that if he smashes that, he's gonna blow up. I personally didn't. But yeah, I didn't know who to choose. Barry was super good in his group stage. His race against Spook once again was super close. Sam, on the other hand, had an over 50-minute time. But I kind of thought it was an outlier, and I know that Sam is playing GTA 4 from time to time. I don't know if it's only Most Wanted or other categories too, like some other players. But I would say that Sam has everything to go far in the tournament, and so did Barry, to be honest. I just chose Sam for, well, I don't know, because his PB is better, I guess. And I was right. And finally, SBW versus Lagoon. Initially, I would go with Lagoon, but knowing that SBW kept on grinding after their race in Group A, their races in Group A, they kept grinding till this day and managed to get a low 27 time. I just had to go with SBW. Don't get me wrong, Lagoon still has a chance to win, but he definitely needs to put some effort in. Their race is scheduled on Friday, and if Lagoon practices a lot, they can definitely win. But they need to put these hours in. Otherwise, I don't think they have a chance. unless things go super wrong for SBW. Because if we look at the races here, we'll see that the average time is not the best, like 38.27. That's not something you would expect from somebody with a low 27 PB. Maybe you would expect something like that, because that's a tournament, completely different setting. You don't reset here. But see, 33, very good time. 39 is a bit shaky. 42 probably got unlucky a lot. But the fact that they kept the grind on was basically the decision maker for me. I can't believe I've been yapping about this for almost 90 minutes. Let me read all of the comments that I've missed. Real recognizes real. He changed the code in console. Like, sorry, I'm so out of loop. I've said things 20 minutes ago. You've probably commented based on that, and now I'm just out of the loop. Shoutouts to AD for being the only rookie to be brave enough for commentary. Wait a second. Hold on. Where is the... Man, where is that thing with rookies being still in the tournament? Oh, there it is. Finally found it. Didn't Stereo comment anything? Might be wrong. Okay. For some reason, I thought there were more rookies. But yeah. Okay. Croshemus versus Joshius. Okay. Cronius. He planned to most wanted streams for Thursday and Friday. It's getting real. It's definitely getting real for sure. But County is a great runner. County is a great runner, of course. And I'm also super sad for Computer Age. Like, Computer Age, I would say, like... No, I can't say he's my friend. We don't talk much outside of his streams. I kind of feel like he's a bit too shy. Like, he answers my questions, but I don't think he messages me first ever. But I always have great vibes on his streams, and I feel like he's one of these streamers I really like to watch and enjoy. So I'm also very sad for Computer Age. He deserved to go through great performances by him so far. Oh, it's a high 27, relax. Wait, what? High 27 for who? SBW? Didn't he post like a PB today? Please save your analysis, what? Why would you need my analysis, what? It's just me yapping. Wait, hold on, didn't SBW... Oh yeah, sorry, it's 27.44. It's minus 1.6. For some reason I thought it was like 27.3. I guess I misremembered. But still, 27 is super impressive, no? Sorry. 26 are becoming a monk. No, I'm not gonna go this way. It was about last changed 20 hours ago. Oh, he changed the coding console. Okay, now I see. I don't think you can do that with Google Sheets, but I can tell you can definitely do that with Git. Back when I was in university still, we had programming courses and we had assignments, and they were due to certain dates. And if you go and submit, or how you say it properly, commit your code past these deadlines, you would get less points for that. However, Git is such a strong thing, and if you are hackerman-ish enough, you can commit things in the past. Like, you can change the date before pushing the commit. Or is it like a commit? No, I think it's still a commit, even if it's a noun. Like, before pushing your commit, you can change the date, and it would still in the user interface, like on the website in GitLab or GitHub, depending what you're using, it would show you the day that you set. So you could definitely fool this way some teachers, because nobody would look at the code like every day. And I know some of my course mates did that, and it actually worked. A rookie crookie? Okay. It's just hard for me to consider him a rookie. He's been around for years. Oh, okay. Yeah, stereo has been around for years. True, true. Demis. Yeah, you can cheat a lot of stuff. Like, some people don't know you can change the date of a file on your like Windows. Although you can just say that the file is from year 3000 easily with one console command. Or you can make a GTA 3 save file that dates all the way back to year 2000 and have one of those. And people, for some reason, don't really notice it. Guess nobody is paying attention or cares enough or knows that the game was released only in 2001. But every time somebody actually does notice it, I just say that I was given the beta version in the year 2000. That's why I have that save file. Stereo rookie crookie breakdowns typical. I know your save file from 2000 is real. It is real, so true. Okay. I mean, this will definitely be saved because I'm planning to do some birds now. Actually, let me try to get it to capture. However, do you really need my analysis as a separate recording? I didn't plan to keep it, but I can if you really need it. I don't know why though. But I guess let's say some final words. Here, once again, we only have 8 races, and I didn't have much time to think of a system for the predictions. To be honest, we don't have much here to come up with other than literally winner in each race. Like, we could also maybe introduce like their times or something, I don't know, stuff like that to complicate it a little bit more, but I didn't have time. I didn't want to complicate it more, and I went with 4 out of 8, just like as 50% mark, 50% threshold. I don't know if it's fair or not, but I would say a lot of races, and most of the races, are gonna be super interesting and super close, or at least can be close on paper, apart from just maybe 2 of I mentioned. So maybe it is fair. And I definitely got lucky with these 2 wins already. Like Kauti winning by just a few seconds. And Sam was super close to Barry up until Kovi, so yeah. I believe I got lucky with these 2 wins. Hopefully I can get lucky with 2 more. Maybe 2 obvious quote-unquote ones will go my way and I'll be done with this. Still waiting for someone to draw a pick for the coin. We need a bronze, silver, gold, and diamond one. I don't know how this system is gonna look for the playoffs. I need to think about it. Technically, I have a chance to think about it right now, but I don't want to because like nobody cares apart from me, I think. But if we go with CS system, then I believe you have to make your predictions for the whole playoffs bracket as soon as you know the matchups. Which means that you can mess up super early and don't even have your predicted races in semis or for the final. And you lose a lot of points. I think that's how CS works these days. Back when I was participating in pickups in CSGO, it was like 2016 PGL Columbus, I think. Not PGL, MLG Columbus. It was different. I think you were betting before each stage, like before quarters, before semis, and then before the final. But now it's different, so we'll think about the system. Maybe I won't think about the system. I don't know. But those are my pick'ems for this stage. Hopefully I can get at least 4. We are archiving everything? Yeah, it is literally MLG Columbus. Do you want me to highlight this as a Twitch recording and give you the link to download it? So you can like archive it to YouTube wherever you need, and then I'll just remove it so I free some space because of the new limitations, you know? Oh, Cookie is up for a quick race. That's pretty good. He is ready, and I'm liking it. Let me read the ideas. If anybody wants to do showcase match of any kind, make sure to post your idea here, plan it in a way it would chain with real races. Ideally, have your point ready as well. Since there'll be way less races from now on, should be fun to use this opportunity for eliminated writers to still have fun in special tournament events. Oh, I really like this idea, Stick. Usually there's only one show match right before the final, but having more show matches is a great idea. I already proposed a show match, more of a challenge run. It's a bit silly, and considering the fact that I'm not the most wanted runner, it probably is not gonna be happening at all, but maybe we'll see something. I will not forget. Dota 5v5 match again. Can we ban Camix real quick? Like, I'm not gonna cheer for Camix. At all. I wish he loses in his first match of playoffs. Alright? Literally never played a second of Dota 2 other than auto chess, but I like the idea. You know what? Suddenly, my respect for Zazzle went up. I don't know why. Although he knows stuff like top lane, jungle. Maybe he's lying to me because that sounds way too Doterish. Oh, there's no jungle dot. Okay then. 5 hours played? That's 5 hours too much, Cookie. I'm sorry. Wheezing on third-party cheats off using complete edition. Okay. We can do it. I just need to move back to my flat. Oh. Okay. Does it mean I should start practicing? Fuck. Fuck! Now I need to do most wanted. I should probably come with my mouse and keyboard because my hands get extra sweaty and I don't want my sweat on somebody else's peripherals. It would be awful for them. Maybe it's not the best idea after all. I'm sorry. We'll think about it. But then you'll have my sweat. Do your hands sweat as well? Okay, let me try to open the game. Hold up. We will go here.